Thai MFP announces 8-party coalition plan to take power. Death toll mounts in Italy's worst flooding in 100 years. 250,000 Somalis flee flooded homes. Taiwan and US agree on closer trade ties. Central Asia leaders converge in China. Russia arrests 3 hypersonic missile scientists. Russia has launched about 8,000 missiles against Ukraine. Ecuador's president dissolves country's national assembly.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Friday, May 19th, and here are your top stories. Thailand's Move Forward Party leader, Pita Limjaroenrat, said at a news conference Thursday that 8 opposition parties have agreed to form a coalition government with him as prime minister. He noted the proposed coalition would have a total of 313 seats in the lower house of representatives, a solid majority of its 500 members. The Harvard-educated businessman Pita said the key message of today's news conference is to assure the public that my coalition is firmly taking shape.
Pita said the parties will sign a memorandum of understanding next week to create a common understanding of how they will work together as a government. Another major opposition party, Pheu Thai, leader Cholnan Srikao pledged unequivocal support for Pita as prime minister and for Move Forward's bid to form a new government. Under Thailand's constitution, the lower house and the 250-seat Senate must vote together to select a new prime minister. All of the senators were appointed by the ruling military junta.
Floods that killed at least 13 people in Italy's northern Emilia-Romagna region were seen as the most catastrophic flooding to affect Italy in 100 years. As of Thursday evening, an estimated 20,000 have been left homeless in a disaster that caused 23 rivers to burst their banks and 280 landslides, engulfing 41 cities and towns. Roads remained blocked and trains were canceled or disrupted. Firefighters have carried out 2,000 rescue operations across the region.
The president of the Italian Meteorological Society, Luca Mercalli, said having 2 occasions of intense rain within such a short time frame, and in the same region, is unprecedented. He said the latest floods have broken 2 records in 15 days in the same region. He added an event like the one that occurred on the 2nd of May might happen once in a century, but then another hit 15 days later. To make matters worse, Emilia-Romagna and other areas of northern Italy have recently been blighted by drought.
Floods have caused almost 250,000 people to flee their homes after the Shabelle River in central Somalia broke its banks and submerged the town of Beledweyne. The flooding occurred on the heels of the country's most severe drought in 4 decades. Local residents said seasonal rains in Somalia and in the Ethiopian highlands triggered flash floods that washed away homes, crops, and livestock, while temporarily closing schools and hospitals in Beledweyne, the capital of Hiran region.
We fled from the flash floods that submerged the city like so many others, he says.
Local shopkeeper Ahmed Noor said just weeks earlier, his family had been celebrating the end of the crippling drought. He said, rain came, we were happy. People planted their crops. But shortly after, the entire city was underwater. Beledweyne itself became like an ocean. Since mid-March, the floods have affected more than 460,000 nationwide and killed 22. The Somali Disaster Management Agency said the floods in Beledweyne alone have caused the displacement of more than 245,000 people.
U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai's office said under the U.S.-Taiwan Trade Initiative, which was launched last June, the U.S. and Taiwan agreed to streamline customs, reduce wait times for trucks and vessels, and improve regulation. Bloomberg said the agreement is the first tangible result under the U.S.-Taiwan Trade Initiative, which faces vehement opposition from Beijing. The media said the U.S. has also been pushing to offer Taiwan a better tax deal to facilitate investment in semiconductors and other high-end technology in the U.S.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, John, for that really generous introduction.
Tai said in a statement, this accomplishment represents an important step forward in strengthening the U.S.-Taiwan economic relationship. She added, We look forward to continuing these negotiations and finalizing a robust and high-standard trade agreement that tackles pressing 21st-century economic challenges. The U.S.-Taiwan Trade Initiative was announced last June, weeks after President Joe Biden initiated the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for 13 other nations in the region.
I always needed time on my own. I never thought I'd be here.
I take your blessings with your heartaches too. It's so easy and so wonderful to know it's you.
学习，一切从今天开始。Funday 英语。
Central Asian heads of state converged in China's historic city of Xi'an on Thursday for one-on-one meetings with Chinese leader Xi Jinping to seal pledges of enduring friendship and paving the way for a summit expected to result in a regional pact with Beijing. China's foreign ministry said the bilateral talks will set the stage for a group meeting on Friday, the first in-person gathering of the six leaders, where Xi will deliver an important speech and an important political document will be signed.
Two-way trade between China and Central Asia hit a record $70 billion last year, with Kazakhstan leading with $31 billion. Kyrgyzstan followed with $15.5 billion, Turkmenistan with $11.2 billion, Uzbekistan with $9.8 billion and Tajikistan with $2 billion. The first to land was President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev of Kazakhstan, China's largest trading partner in Central Asia, with his face-to-face meeting with Xi on Wednesday ending with a deal to build enduring friendship and share weal and woe.
An open letter from the staff of RAS Institute of Theoretical and Applied Mechanics, published on May 16th, revealed Valery Zaventshev, head of the aerodynamics lab at the institute, has been arrested on charges of high treason. The letter reads, "The past year has seen the arrest of three prominent aerodynamics scientists at our institute, Anthony Maslov, Alexander Shipluk, and Valery Zaventshev, on suspicion of committing a crime under the grave article, the Criminal Code, high treason."
According to Russian media reports, Zaventshev was detained 3 weeks ago on charges of publishing scholarly work on gas dynamics in a foreign scientific journal. Shipluk was arrested in early August 2022, and at the end of June, Anatoly Maslov was also arrested on suspicion of high treason. According to the Moscow Times, Shipluk and Maslov have presented an experimental design for this weapon in 2012 at a scientific conference in France. 4 years later, they published a joint article on hypersonic aerodynamics.
A spokesperson for the Air Force of Ukraine told news outlet The New Voice of Ukraine on May 17th, Russia has launched about 8,000 missiles of various types against Ukraine since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of the country. The Ukraine official acknowledges that it is currently difficult to name the exact number of missiles launched, since different sources provided different statistics. The official explained some of them count cruise missiles, some ballistic missiles, and others include the S-300 missiles.
The Ukraine official said the latest mass missile attack occurred on May 16th, when Russia attacked Kyiv with ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and UAVs overnight. All 18 missiles were destroyed by the air defense forces of the Ukrainian Air Force. While the Russian Defense Ministry claimed that a Patriot air defense system had been destroyed in Kyiv during the latest strike, U.S. television channel CNN reported that the Patriot system had likely been damaged, but not destroyed.
Ecuador's embattled President Guillermo Lasso, who was facing a looming impeachment vote, has triggered a constitutional clause to dissolve the government. According to a decree published on the website of the presidency, the Ecuadorian leader invoked a procedure known as mutual death, whereby the opposition-led National Assembly is dissolved and snap elections will be called. According to Ecuador's Electoral Council President Diana Etemend, the elections will take place within the next 90 days.
The president's decision to instate Muerte Cruzada means that Lasso can rule by decree until elections are held for a new president and legislative body. Calls for Lasso's resignation have grown louder in recent months as the country is engulfed by a cost of living crisis and high rates of criminal violence. Lawmakers had also accused the president of interfering in the negotiation of a shipping contract related to the export of oil products. He has denied all allegations and claims they are politically motivated.
Now let's take a look at today's vocabulary of the news of Italy's worst flooding. Number 1, catastrophic. 灾难性的，引起重大灾难的。A tidal wave caused by the earthquake hit the coast, causing catastrophic damage. Number 2, intense. 很大的，十分强烈的。The president is under intense pressure to resign. Number 3, blight. 使损害，妨害。His career has been blighted by injuries. And that's all for today's Funday news. Be sure to tune in to Funday news from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.